Latin America is changing fast. What was once the United States' backyard is beginning to switch sides. In 2000, China barely had a footprint in the region. Today, it's South America's largest trading partner. In Brazil, trade has ballooned to over $180 billion, more than twice what it does with the US, and the effects are showing. Not long ago, China bought most soybeans from American farmers. Now, Brazil is the main supplier. This shift was not accidental, part of a bigger plan. Trade is the beginning of China's strategy. Since 2005, they've pumped more than $300 billion into Latin America in investments and loans. Beijing is financing a new superport in Peru, lithium mines in Chile, and a massive space tracking center in remote Patagonia. As money floods in, American control erodes. In Mexico and Brazil, people view American involvement as a more serious political problem than Chinese. America has a reputation for throwing its weight around. But Beijing's approach is different. Loans, construction crews, and long infrastructure deals. We've seen this playbook in Africa, where billions transformed infrastructure and won public approval. Now, it's unfolding on America's doorstep. Given the stakes, Washington's response has been shockingly small. While Democrats and Republicans bicker, China moves in. Not just trading, but rewriting the balance of power. This may seem fear-mongering, but the scale is hard to miss. Maps show every port with Chinese ownership or control, ranked by strategic risk to the USA web of red and orange hotspots. The pattern extends to railways, highways, and power grids. To grasp the change, understand the norm before. For decades after the Soviet collapse, American influence was unchallenged. Governments were pressured to adopt Washington's agenda, from coca eradication to extradition treaties. If you played ball, they secured loans via IMF and World Bank for struggling economies. This was a lifeline, but with strings. The Washington Consensus promised stability, but to many in the global South, it looked like rewriting rules in U.S. favor. If refused, the stick: withholding aid, sanctions, or backing regime change. For decades, it worked, but it began to undo. In 2017, Maduro defied Washington on elections. Trump unleashed harsh sanctions, expecting collapse and regime change. But China stepped in, extending credit, buying oil, keeping Maduro afloat. For the first time, a foreign power challenged U.S. will in the Western Hemisphere and won. Just decades ago, unimaginable. China was barely in the hemisphere. But 2001 WTO ascension opened doors to trade, changing the global economy. Through 2000's 2010s, China grew 10% yearly, doubling every 7 years. Factories cranked out goods but needed resources: iron, oil, soybeans, copper from Latin America. In return, region got affordable goods. Natural partnership on comparative advantage. Trade exploded from $12 billion in 2002 over $500 billion in 2024. U.S. didn't just allow it, helped design it, believing economic opening would open politics, but backfired. By early 2010s, she consolidated power. And Washington realized miscalculation helped create peer competitor, invited into backyard. Today, China replaced us as top partner for many, especially resource-rich South America. Excluding Mexico, China's largest, no slowing. Demand created commodities, boom, jobs, rich exporters, swelling taxes, but gains at cost. In Chile, 40% exports to China, mostly copper, backbone of economy. If Beijing stops buying, industry nosedives, layoffs, collapsing wages. Government can't fund schools, hospitals, not trade, dependence. Can't risk bad side. Trade step 1. Recent years, investment more powerful. Since $2,200 billion poured, mostly state-owned in transportation, energy, extractives. Unlike us private, part of strategy. 2018, invited to BRI to root global economy in China's favor. 2/3 signed, results, solar farms, ports, rails. When short on cash, China lent $141 billion. More than World Bank, IDB, CAF combined. Gone US purse strings. Beijing offers escape from Western system dollar. Loans repaid in yuan or oil. Foundation of new economic system. Once bankrolling, doors open for Xi since 2013. Visited 6 times, more than Obama, Trump, Biden combined. Leaves with trophies. Peru FTA upgrade, Megaport ribbon. Brazil strategic partnership elevation, not one-off. Building multilateral platforms without Washington. At 2025 China CELAC, cast as Global South brothers against Trump's tariffs as Western bullying pledged $9 billion. Turned U.S. mistakes into opportunities. Region response. 2017, more than half CELAC recognized Taiwan. Today, 7. Clear sign loyalties shifting to Beijing. Why Latin America? Resources. Mid-2010s oil, $60 billion to Venezuela, repaid in crude. If fail, extend to benefit. Secured access to largest reserves. Today, lithium, $11 billion since 2018 in Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. Copper, billions in Peru's Toromo, another site 2% global supply. These metals build future EVs, renewables, semis. Latin has most lithium triangle half reserves. Chile, Peru, 3rd copper. Control Latin, control resources. Beijing securing future. For China, not just challenge US order, survival. Old model running out. Cheap exports, low labor. Wages up, advantage gone. Middle income trap. Way out, up value ladder to high tech. Time short, green transition, AI ripping rulebook. Old oil, gas fade, new EVs, renewables, data explode. Disruption opportunity, lock raw materials dominate. Miss window, industries mature. Leaders set, hard to break in. Germany century for cars, US decades, aerospace. Doors close, rarely open. Beijing aggressive now. Success. Catch West, erase century of humiliation. Reclaim superpower. For Latin, game changer. Supercharge growth. Jobs. Living. Important. Leverage since USSR fall. China alternative. Washington can't overload loans with strings. Risk push to Beijing. Governments play sides. Better deals. Not without consequences. Cold War struggle brought repressions. If sliding into another, Latin risks literal battlefield. For us, stakes high. Beijing control resources holds knife to future industries. Green to defense, strategic vulnerability. Chinese money chips US influence, grip slips. Less cooperation on drugs, migration. Deeper, challenge us global leader. If Beijing undermines offers alternative, US loses preeminence. To remain hegemon, act fast, confront China, advance in Latin. History rarely peaceful. With war verge Trump, America, Venezuela, China ally. Military back on table to re-establish influence. Latin peripheral. Frontline new superpower competition. If Washington's sleeping, too late when wakes. While Washington, Beijing battle resources, clear commodities power. Gold, timeless, strategic. World of gold, unprecedented. Surged past $4,000, Oz. Billionaires like Ray Dalio compared to 1970s when essential. Trump admin reshapes Fed, equity in mining companies. Major shift, gold, silver, copper near highs. Tailwinds from Washington's strongest decades. Sponsor today's video, U.S. Gold Mining, Inc., NASDAQ, USGO. Whistler Project Alaska, one largest undeveloped gold-copper on U.S. soil, closest scale to Anchorage. Alaska Central U.S. Resource Strategy. Trump issued 2 executive orders unleashing Alaska resource potential. Another immediate measures increase American mineral production. Both direct agencies accelerate domestic mining, especially gold-copper. State level, Gov. Mike Dunleavy, strong advocate, visited Whistler with Sen. Lisa Murkowski, Kong Nick Begich. Admin approved Ambler Road, 211-mile unlocking Northern Alaska mineral districts. Sign growing support. Whistler Mineral. Resource 294 million tons at 0.68 grams. T gold. Equivalent for 6.48 million ounces indicated plus 198 million tons at 0.65 grams. T4 4.16 million ounces inferred. Company technical reports. Filings Inkle 10K. Updated estimate at sec.gov and sedarplus.ca. Full details. Compelling. Tightly held stock. 78% outstanding shares parent company. Another 4 to 12% management insiders, over 80% locked. Major catalyst, begun preliminary economic assessment, early study economic potential. Gold above $4,000 per ounce, copper near $5 lb, timing stronger. Between record prices, supportive federal policy, advancing Alaska development, U.S. gold mining positions for defining moment next American mining boom. As always, own extensive research. Look us Gold Mining, USGO, NASDAQ. Review filings sec.gov, sedarplus.ca. Detailed info project, financials, resource estimates,